All right, so we are going live, which is fantastic. Just one quick thing. I am testing out StreamYard's new ability to go live with Instagram. Hey, it's working. I'm so excited. All right, so one quick moment. I am going to do a quick share on Facebook, y'all. So give me one quick second. I'm in multiple places. So let me know in the comment area where you're tuning in from. We're going to get started. This is going to be great. So I really want you to make sure that you have a pen, notebook, whatever, because you need to write this down. We're getting started. So tune in. All right. So that is Facebook. I'm just making sure I share it real quick. And one of the best things for you to do is to give this a share. I'm about to drop some real knowledge. I have accumulated a lot, I've tested a lot, and this is just that real knowledge. So I'm gonna give you a quick moment of vulnerability, y'all. I'm a person who, for a very long time, had let my fears and past relationships and other things of that nature hold me back from implementing the work, right? So I know this work works because it's been working for my clients, it's been working for people who I've had the pleasure of working with. And so I know the work works. The problem of it was, again, that I got in my own way and I hustled in the wrong direction and I hit burnout. I really crashed during the pandemic and I put myself in safe mode, right? The unfortunate thing about that is having done that, that affected my finances. So, what I'm going to be doing over this week is help myself by helping you. So, what would be really helpful if you find value in what I teach you today? It would be really helpful if you drop something in the tip jar. I have it online for you to look at. So, again, my tip jar is going to be on Cash App, Venmo, or Chime, The Right Diva. So, if you find what I teach you today or what I'm sharing with you today, you find that valuable, please drop something in the tip jar. All right. So if you have any questions or comments, drop them over into the chat or on the stream or wherever it is, because I will do my best to answer those questions, to answer those comments. This is your time, okay? So I just hope that you allow me to get through the piece that I need to get through, and then I'll come back to your questions. So just maybe do a hashtag question so that I can find it very quickly. But I am just ready to get started. There's always like fuzziness around my nose. All right, so let's drink some water, y'all. I already prayed today. I'm going to pray again. Dear Heavenly Father, let me deliver what these people are in need of, because as you know, I am here walking into my divine assignment of being the voice piece, the microphone, the teacher, sharing those things that you have poured into me with other people. And Lord, I pray that I'm a blessing to them as much as they're going to be a blessing to me. So let's get it. Amen. All right. Y'all don't understand. Let's get it is like my motto for all of 2024 and beyond. So we're gonna get started because I don't want to hold up your time, nor do I want to take too long. All right, so tonight we're going to talk about one thing, multiple streams. One thing, multiple streams. So this is how to narrow your niche, your niche. I'm going to say niche for the sake of keeping it one way. So I'm going to say niche. So how to narrow your niche. I just said I was going to do it one way. How to narrow your niche and align to your assignment. I know people like to say riches, niches, blah, blah, blah. But it's a French word, so it's niche. And niche actually is like a carving space in a building, in a window, like in a cathedral. Those windows are in a niche, the recess. And honestly, if you go by what the word really is, this is what we're trying to do. In this big cabinet space called the online world, we are trying to find where we fit, right? Or trying to create our fit. We might have to chisel a little bit, but we're going to fit. Like, we're going to fit. All right. So, again, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, if you have any yes, girl, if you have any ooh, that hit my soul, if you have anything that can let me know, one, that you're out there, two, that I'm delivering what you need, y'all go ahead and talk back to me. I get what I need from you, from the energy that you give me. So let's get it. All right. So we're talking about, again, narrowing your niche and aligning to your assignment with one thing. So I'm going to do this in typical webinar training styles. So flow with me, but understand this is just so that I can stay on time frame. But again, if you have any questions or anything, will answer those. So I really want you to think about your situation, right? I've had a lot of people share with me that 2023 has been an extremely hard year. As I shared with you in the beginning, it has been an extremely hard year for me too. I have gone from losing my car to losing my bank account to losing my credit cards to losing my apartment to losing my sanity, almost. Like it's just been boom, 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 one hit after another. This great avalanche of just losses and pain. And so now it's culminating in I don't want to carry any more loss into 2024. So it's time to show up and start gaining. How about that? So if you are like me and have been somebody who's been hugging the shadows, hiding your gifting, coming out a little bit like turtling, I won't use the other thing that came up in my mind. This is my call to you to show up for you, to show up in your gift, to show up in your anointing, to show up as God has called you to do. Y'all, I made a mistake. I prayed before. So I'm going to let y'all know the messages might start dropping in. And I say that was a mistake because I'm trying to stick to an hour, but y'all know, y'all grew up in Black churches, right? Yeah. All right. So again, have you ever wondered what it was like to have multiple streams, but from just one project, just one thing that is yours? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to develop this business or this brand that's actually in alignment to what you feel like God is calling you to? Contrary to what people are saying is like you have the thing that make you profit, then you have the thing that make you purpose. Well, in God's kingdom, those things are the same thing. Um, and three, have you wondered what it would be like to actually lead a movement? You know that you were not called to be a follower. You know that you were not called to hide in those shadows. You know that you were not called to be mediocre. You know that you were called to be a leader. And leadership is scary as hell. It literally is, because you're out front sometimes, because other leaders do lead from the back as well, making sure that people have their backs covered as well. All right. So if those are any of your things, I want y'all to let me know. Again, let me know that I'm not alone. Answer that question. Have you wondered what it was what it'd be like to be in harmony with yourself, to be in harmony with your life, to have your hobbies, be hobbies, but to not worry about what Monday is? Have you wondered what it would be like to not dread Saturday evening because Sunday morning is coming, which means Monday morning is coming? Like, have you ever wondered what it would be like to not feel like retiring because the job you have is one you love? So it doesn't feel like a job. It's just something you get to work. Work is not a bad word. Work literally means to put forth effort, right? That's literally what work means, is to put forth effort. So work itself is not a bad word, but grind is. Grind means to wear down. And I know many of you are over the hustle and grind culture. Maybe if hustle was by itself, But hustle and grind means to wear yourself down. I've done it. Okay. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Um, so what I'm about to show you is my proven strategy. I have not listened to myself, but they literally are my proven strategies to exponentially increase your income and impact from just one source. Okay. One source. And I will tell you what that is in a moment. So this is my promise though. Promise to you is that by the end of this talk that I'm giving, this conversation we're having, you're going to know more about like how to actually generate income again from one source more than most entrepreneurs out there. I'm not talking about the people who have multiple businesses. You know, they're saying I have multiple streams of income and they're sitting out there with 7, 8 different businesses being pulled in all kinds of ways, don't have any kind of relaxation time. They feel guilty if they even watch Netflix, and their family like doesn't even know their favorite color anymore. Okay. We're not talking about that. We're talking about entrepreneurs out here in cyberspace who are looking at these people who are on their level 56. I think that's about like how old Gary Vaynerchuk is. If he's 46, 48, like he's on a higher level, but he's been at this, you know, for a while. The Porterfields have been at this for a while. Tony Robbins, he's like over 20 years, right? And the Forleos, Marie Forleo, she's been at this for a while. Like many of them were at this like before social media even like strongly took off, you know, while most of us were still with farm town and sorority life and mob wars. These people were out here trying to cultivate a business. So we can't be looking at them, one, to follow in their footsteps because the path has changed, and two, because they all have teams at this moment, right? So even if they do something on their own, most of what gets done though is by teams. Okay, so we can't be looking at these people who are on level 56 and we're just on level 4, 5, 6, 3, 2. All right, so but here's what they've done well. Here's what they've done well, and here's what we're leaning more into, especially in this age of AI, y'all. So, what has been done well is that they have cultivated their personal brand. Gary Vaynerchuk, his personal brand is this. I don't even know how tall he is. I was gonna say he's this little cussing, he's this little cussing body, right? He's in his 40s or something. I don't know if he thinks he's hip or if he just tries to stay hip, but that's his brand. Tony Robbins, he's known for the fire walk. He's known for the get up in your face and the hard love or whatever it is. I just know him for his gravelly voice, but that's his personal brand. Brene Brown, her personal brand is being more accepting, more cultivating. She's talking about vulnerability. Mel Robbins, personal brand is more in your face, get up and do it, right? So this is their personal brand. So a personal brand is not separate of your business. That's what people need to understand. When you are the face of your company, you're a coach, you're a consultant, you're a strategist. When you are the face of your company, your personal brand is not wholly separate from your business. Okay. So, and what I mean by that is this, you know, Pepsi is basically a faceless company. You cannot tell me who owns Pepsi just by, you know, a lineup, right? So they have a business brand, and Jeff Bezos has his own personal brand separate from Amazon, but he didn't always. It was Amazon, and then Bezos arrived, so to speak. The same thing with the Bill Gates is it was Microsoft, and then it was Bill Gates, Microsoft, right? So a personal brand is built on you. You are the face of your company, yes, but you are the face of the person that people are wanting to be like, or that people are wanting to do work with, or that people are admiring. It's a heavy mantle. I will tell you that is for sure. It is definitely a heavy mantle, Because if you cultivate a fake one, then you are going to be carrying a hardship, a burden, right? We're not trying to do that. We're trying to walk in authenticity, which is why it's really important that your personal brand is built on you, the person, not what you think is a persona, okay? Unless you're operating in a different way. All right, so why do you want to actually build your business with a personal brand? Again, if you're like a coach or a consultant, or even if you do hair, like there's this there's two hair companies, black hair owned companies. One is Naturalicious and one is Curl Mix, and they're both forward facing business owners. They put themselves out there. They use themselves as the guinea pig. They do a lot of speaking. So they are the personal brand. They are the face of their companies. And so if they presented themselves as holier than thou, and then you caught them drinking in a bar after a conference hour, then we have two different messages going on, and we don't like that, right? But if you come in as who you are, like if you think of any political person who has been um, provocative, we'll say, that's their personal brand that they're cultivating and that they're putting out there. Um, and a lot of people say, I like them because they are straight shooters. I like them because they don't play political games, or they don't seem like they play, blah, blah, blah. They don't seem like they play political games. So people say they like them for this reason. But that's their brand. Now, if they come off any other kind of way, then we feel cheated, right? So here's why you want to build one, because as I have learned, that you can't pour from an empty cup. And so creating an income for yourself is just as important as showing up and helping others create income. I have done that. I've helped people create tens of thousands of dollars while my bank account was looking a completely different way. Don't be twisted. Just because somebody doesn't represent what you think they're supposed to represent doesn't mean they don't know what they definitely know. It's just they could be just in their own way, as I was. All right. So you also want to brand yourself as an expert in your field, okay? Because you want to be known. You want when your name comes up, like now, when people hear brand story, they tag me under stuff. When people see writer, they tag me under stuff because unbeknownst to me, while being just myself, I was creating a brand of being an expert in my field of writing and story. Wow, right? So we can cultivate that by showing up as our authentic selves. Okay. So you want to bring yourself as an expert in your field, and you understand that that comes with creating momentum. There is a TikTok agency person by the name of Casey Brown. This year, she reported that she spent not a single dime on ads. And when I first came across her, she was talking about ads and such. Um, but this year, she leaned very heavily into showing up as herself, as a member of the LGBTQ, as a person who has confidence and has had it since she was a child, the person who has the support of her family, as a person who cultivates real relationships, as a person who likes to have fun. Like her brand is some people's dream because she lived her brand out loud. And that's what we've got to start doing, is live who we are out loud. I am crucifying myself on this too. I'm letting you know this as well. Um, but when it comes to TikTok or when it comes to the marketing stuff, people are tagging up under there. She's built her brand so well that whenever she goes, all right, guys, like I've done this with this client, and this is like the result of what has happened, and this was dope. And I did all of this on vacation with my boo in the Georgia woods. And she showed like a picture of her and her boo on Georgia woods. And it's like, oh, teach me, you know? And so she's actually made more money this year for her, um, not just her clients, but for her as well, because she leaned into who she was as a person. Okay. And people are gravitating towards the person. All right. So you're also tired of being stuck in creation mode. Um, and so that you don't want to just waste time coming up with all these new ideas because you're basing them off of what other people are doing and just coming up with all these new ideas that you don't even see all the way through to its total potential. What I'm going to talk to you about today is a product suite. I'm talking about multiple streams, right? But it's coming from one thing. And I'm going to tell you what that one thing is in just a moment. But you've got to see it all the way through. You've got to squeeze the juice out of that lemon. You got to, make sure you bubble in the dash between your birth and your death very, very well. you know, like live your life, live it well. Don't live for business, live for you, and business will follow. All right. So if you want to create multiple streams of income, this is how you do it. Personal branding. So you're creating multiple streams of income without having to lean into creating multiple businesses. This is where we get it wrong. Am I the only person who thought multiple businesses is how you get your multiple streams? And here's the thing, I wrestled with that because I didn't actually believe it. I was just listening to what other coaches said and stuff of that nature, but it was like, have an Airbnb, have a marketing program, have this, have that. And it's just all these different things. Have a vending machine. Oh, I did really well with vending machines. I did really well with Turo. So you got people having Turos, vending machines, Airbnbs or Verbos, businesses, coaching things, so they're all over the place and they're so doggone burnt out and it's not sustainable, right? Not sustainable at all. So multiple streams comes from one thing, not multiple sources, okay? I mean, if you think about it, in essence, there's really only one ocean, right? It's all attached to each other. So there's really one ocean, but I think we break it into what, five, right? I'm not going to go over it. I think it's five. And so we break them into five oceans. But from each ocean flows streams, rivers, channels, and each of those are fed by new things, new discoveries, new ways of transforming. Okay, so y'all know the water cycle, right? The rain gets swept up. I mean, the ocean gets evaporated. That creates condensation. Condensation, transmutes, and then next thing you know, it's precipitation. So there's a cycle that's happening, and that is the type of life that you want to have, is one where one source is feeding you on a continual basis and creating these different ways of getting to your flow, your river, your abundance, correct? Am I wrong? Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. I don't want to presume that you are ready to actually start living your life. I don't want to presume that you're ready to stop listening to all these coaches and borrowing their voices. This is what I used to do. Borrow their voices and not even know your own. I want you to find your own. Okay? I want you to find what flows for you. So, we just want to make sure that you understand that now is the time for you to do that. Now is the time for you to immerse yourself very, very strongly, very, very fully into who you are as a person. And if you do not know that, it is time to know who you are, okay? Because all you're going to do is come back to the lessons that you have been repeating. Trust me, okay? Anyway, so why are we going to lean into this? Because you're ready to truly brand yourself. You're ready to show up as the expert that you really, really are in your field. You're tired of looking at mediocre people take over. Just me? I'm tired of the mediocre taking over. Like that's just mm, mm. Okay. So you also see the opportunity to create quality because the mediocre is creating fluffy stuff. So you see the opportunity to create quality info, products in a time of uncertainty. Y'all, we thought it was like over, bro. Like the pandemic was 3 years ago. Actually, it kicked off 4 years ago, but we won't own the fact that it was in America in 2019. We're just going to still say that it wasn't, but it definitely was. Um, but it was 3 years ago. Everything shut down. We got things going back up by the next year. We should be fine. It should be perfect, but it's not. Because what we're finding is there's a lot of people who are experiencing some tough, tough situations in life. Again, like myself, it was homelessness, and I only did it for a couple days, but I was afraid of how long it was going to be. I just finally took an opportunity that presented itself and came to stay with my parents. Um, so I just want you to know, y'all, that it's been a tough year, and it's okay that it's been a tough year for you because it doesn't have to continue to be such. We got to learn from the lessons, all right? And that's what we're here to do. So you also have the knowledge, you have the creativity, you have the expertise to offer the world, and there is a seat at this table. Even if you don't feel like building your own, there's a seat at this table. There's a table with your name on it, and the seat is there. You just have to come. All right. So, um, that's definitely why now is the thing. So just really quickly, let me introduce who I am. I gave y'all a little bit of rundown with my story, but let me tell you some of my accolades, some of my accomplishments, so that you understand why I am actually the person who can talk to you about this. I love everything story. I'm a storyteller. I'm a 2-time TEDx speaker, 3 times Amazon bestseller. I am that brand story chick. I am a personal brand identity coach because I do help you find your identity, and I know how important that is. And I am an award winning screenwriter. So, you guys, I love everything story, from writing to creating to movies to everything. I've also won some poetry contests. So, I'm a writer, I'm a storyteller. And I understand that all stories come from one particular fountain, and that is yourself. So let's keep it going. So here's the problem that I see, especially with my creatives, and it's this: you have a fear of profiting off of pain. I'm speaking to you from, I don't even have it here. I'm speaking to you from a place of been there, done that, right? So you have a problem with profiting off of pain. Here's what I'm going to quickly have you consider, because I thought that was my thing, but the truth was, I'm an essay survivor. And so the truth of it is, it wasn't that I didn't want to profit off of pain, it was I didn't want that to be my platform. So give yourself the truth and be okay with that, right? I didn't want that to be my platform. And the other thing was fear of judgment from other people. As artists, as creatives, we are always being judged, right? We always have critics. And so it's something that we even internalize. I know I do, right? Um, and then let's see. Then there's the Moses complex. Oh, this is a rich one. The Moses complex is, who am I to do the thing that I've been called to do? I mean, the answer is literally in that question. But who am I to do the thing that I'm called to do? I have this fault or that fault. I have this flaw or that flaw. So I'm not perfect. Go find somebody perfect. And, if you're called, then obviously you're qualified because that means you're perfect for the job. Yes or no? Yes or no? Okay. So then we have the overwhelm, right? Sometimes, especially for me, like one of the things that arrested me a little bit earlier this year was just that starting over meant I had to do all the things I've already done before. And y'all, there was a Facebook post yesterday or the day before where a person lists everything that entrepreneurs do. We do a lot, right? We do a lot. Like if you had to write your own job description, you would have one of those 6-figure incomes just by showing up, like for real. All right. Um, so then there's the other part of there's no support on the journey. And I see this a lot, especially with women, that for a lot of women, they don't find themselves having support on the journey. So those type of things impact what people are doing. I'm going to talk a little bit later about Girl Use Your Voice at Lions, which is my monthly membership, but I'm not going to drop that right now. I just want you to know that support is available. Let me just say that. All right, so here's why I'm still going, right? So I had my opportunity to quit. I totally burnt out in 2020 to 2023, 22, right? Burnt out. I went on, I don't know if y'all have ever had a Windows computer. It's been a while since I had one, but there's something called safe mode. That is right before your computer is going to go blue screen, it's going to go shut down on you. You can put it in safe mode, or my PlayStation people, y'all know what this is too. You put it in safe mode, and it allows you to recover before there's a full meltdown. So that's where I've been. So why am I still doing this business thing? Well, this is partially my reason, and that is my children, right? I have four children. I have a 27-year-old, a 24-year-old, and I have twin 10-year-olds. So they are partially the reason of why I do what I do, right? But every woman cannot use their children as their excuse, okay? Every woman cannot use their children as the thing to propel them forward, because what happens when those children go off and do their own thing, right? So then you need to figure out, what is it for me? What's a bigger thing? And so we're going to get into that in a second. But for me, that why was way bigger than my children. That why had to propel me through three different times of nearly dying. Like, that is ridiculous that God had to keep tapping on my shoulder to say, hey girl, do what I said do. Hey girl, do what I said do. Hey girl, do what I said do. Three different times. 2018, 2020, and 2022. Y'all see a pattern here, right? So let me show up and get it done. Um, so my why had to be bigger than my children. My children keep me alive, but to keep pushing on this business thing, the why has to be bigger. Has to be bigger. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Let me free you right now. Okay. Let me free y'all. Most of what we've been told about building a business is completely wrong. Completely wrong. There are so many ways to market, there's so many ways to build, but it's completely wrong if it's wrong for you. Right. So here's some of the things. Yes, your why has to be bigger than the obvious of your family. It has to be bigger, because what happens if, God forbid, and I'm going to say it that way, but what happens if your family is no longer there? It has to be bigger. Has to be bigger than just your family. It has to be bigger than leaving a legacy, because that's just so far away that it's hard to keep going in the middle of a storm with a boat that's sinking if you're thinking of something so far away. That doesn't keep you from sinking. That's not your lifeline. So your why has to be bigger than just your family. Your why has to be bigger than just your children. Your why has to be bigger than leaving a legacy. So what's your why, right? And so you have to discover that. So here's some false stories that I heard about business, or that I had for myself. And y'all tell me what yours are. But mine, it was, it's too hard, right? For me, I was coming out of the education background. I was watching women who came from corporate. They were killing it. You know, they were coiffed and they had their hair done. They were cut creases, they're beat face, and they're, you know, looking cuteness. Y'all see me. I'm in a t-shirt, like, well, a t-shirt dress. Like, I like to be comfortable. Um, so for me, it was too hard. It requires too much. I'm not a marketer. I am a teacher. I am a mentor. Um, Nobody's going to want what I have. And these are the lies, for instance, that I kept feeding myself. Y'all tell me what your lies were. Because every marketer and their grandma was peddling how to make money, and I'm not teaching you how to make money. I'm a personal brand identity coach. Like, I literally landed here this year to be very, very clear, because I'm not in the market of teaching you how to make money. I'm in the market of teaching you how to be yourself. I'm in the market of helping you become yourself so that you can show up as God has called you to show up. So it was, nobody will want what I have. Barely anybody makes money in entrepreneurship except those who are, whatever. Um, I need to live on social media to make money. We are taught that, you have to beat the algorithm. Back in the Twitter days, when I actually was on Twitter, it was like Twitter's algorithm was like 15 seconds. So you need to have scheduled out tweets for all damn day. Like, who has that? Like, I discovered that I have ADHD. So it explained what I was trying to explain to people before I knew what the label was. But I can't envision that far ahead enough to have all 30 days, and 15 tweets planned in one day. Like, it was just ridiculous. Facebook is not as good. Instagram is not as good. The algorithms are just like whatever. So my business model has shifted towards the SEO type, but the long game. So Pinterest, YouTube, blogging, and TikTok. So again, I've shifted how I think about it, right? So so now the other one is, I need to sell something that I can promise people will make money. I already went over that. And then also, what's your false story? So do me a favor and let me know what your false story is in the comments. So, like I said, I believed most of these. And what that did was it overwhelmed me. I froze. I don't know if y'all have heard of what is it? Flight, fight, or fawn. I definitely fawned. I froze, right? So I had no opportunity. No, I let opportunities go by. Like, so many opportunities went by because I was frozen, and then that just filled me up with more regret, shame, and frustration. One of the things that I learned is a lot of the reasons why we don't move on things or we don't have self confidence is because we have lied to ourselves over and over again. We said that we're going to do something and we did not do it. We will be accountable to people, but we won't be accountable to ourselves. Ridiculous, I know. But what that does is exactly what would happen had somebody else been doing it to you. Trust erodes. And so we don't trust ourselves anymore. Those of us who do not move forward. Like, sometimes when we have these big, audacious things that we may have never seen anybody do, or that just seems like crazy to do, and we won't do it because we don't trust ourselves, trust that voice, trust that it's being given to us by God. So anyway, I froze. And then a few years later, I got a message 3 years after I published my book. And the person said, um, let's see, she said, basically, you're a very talented writer. I was in therapy plenty of times in my life, and no one ever asked me, who were you before the assault? I remember they kept harping on not all men. So thank you again. I was like, oh, wow, thank you so much. This is why I wrote the book. And then she says, I can't wait to finish this and read more of your work. Y'all, like, that touched me. And the thing is, that message came in just a week or a couple days before I landed in a hospital. So I found a bigger why. And the bigger why was I almost died. And I'm smiling because it's just ridiculous. Like, I found the why then, but I didn't. Anyway, so October 2018, almost died. I had multiple blood clots in my lungs, multiple. Any one of them could have been swept up at any moment, and I would have had a heart attack or a brain aneurysm, wherever it would have got swept up, because it's in my lungs. So it literally was on its way to whatever was next, right? So I had all these blood clots in my lungs in 2018, and I discovered my bigger why. My bigger why became that I needed to use my voice. I could not die with my voice in me, right? I remember being on the back of that ambulance going, this is not how my story ends. And the fact that I said that in the midst of my fear and all of that already let me know that that was true. And if I didn't want my story to end that way, well, then I better get to writing a better story, right? Granted, it's taken me 5 years, right? But anyway, so I did start using my voice immediately after, like 3 to 4 months after I had my first TEDx. I developed programs that I landed on speaker panels. So I started using my voice. But y'all, slowly but slowly, I started shrinking again because I let those other voices come up. I let those doubts come up until I reached meltdown, right? So this is what I'm going to go over with you today. These are the 5 categories for a product suite that you could be building out from one thing. Let me tell you what that one thing is. Your story. Now, here's the thing. Let's be very, very clear. You don't have just one story, you have a whole bunch of stories. Okay. So by your story, I truly mean your voice, who you are, who you've been made to be. And so I'm going to give you these categories. I'm going to talk about 5 categories, and then I'm going to give you the pieces under these categories. I want you to write them down so that you have them. But the 5 categories that we are going to be going over today for your product suite is category number 1, books. Y'all should have known I was going to books. I am a writer. Hello, we're going to books first. Okay. So, but books, right? And I'll tell you why books in a minute. Category number 2, in-person events or in-person activities. Category number 3. If I go too fast, don't worry. I'm going over each category so you'll have it. Category number 3, virtual activities. Excuse me, virtual activities. So that is the 3rd category in this product suite that we're going to be talking about. This thing of your voice being the ocean from which everything flows. Category number 4 is training. And then category number 5, which did not make it on there, but category number 5 is your merchandising. Okay, so we're going to talk about those 5 things. So these 5 things, these 5 streams are coming from one source, and that is your personal brand, okay? Your voice, your who you actually have been called to be. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's dive in. Category number 1, one thing, multiple streams. Category number 1 is, again, books. So I'm going to give you a list of books. I'm going to talk about them briefly, then we'll move on because I don't want this to go too long. So there are 3 types of books. The easiest book to write, let me reword that. The easiest book to publish, okay? The easiest book to publish is an ebook, right? So we're talking Kindle, Kobo, Barnes and Nobles, Ingram Sparks. Like, the ebook is the easiest book that you can publish, right? It doesn't require you to have a book cover made, really. What have you. So that's the easiest one, ebook. And then the second type of book is a print book, right? And so by print book, I'm talking about a paperback. Okay. So a paperback is your second type of book. The third book, which people are starting to really get into now, but it's still a pretty untapped market, is audiobooks. Audiobooks. And this really should have its own separate, but I'm gonna put there too, CDs. You know, there's still old people who listen to CDs. There's still people with like Walkman and stuff. So a CD is the type of book you could do if that's what you feel like doing. But those are the first 3 main types of books: ebook, print book, paperback, and audiobook. All right. So then the third type of book is a hardcover type of book. Sorry, fourth book is a hardcover book. And then the fifth is something called an EPUB or Mobi file. So that is the fifth type of book. Again, it's like an ebook, but that goes on to like the Nook, the Mobi file goes into the Nook or the Kobo. Okay. And I will also add here possibly a coil book. So, like the notebooks, the ones with the spiral binding. So that's another type of book. And I have created for my journals that we'll talk about a little bit later, I've created the paperback and the hardcover, and I'm actually waiting to submit my order for the coil book because people like what they like. So you might find that doing an ebook was really, really easy. And it is. It's easier to publish compared to everything else. Um, but you have to understand that your reader, your aligned audience, they like what they like. And so you want to give them the option of different types of books. So, like for instance, with the ebook, they can at least, adjust the fonts and stuff if they want to adjust those fonts on the Kindle or whatever. But the paperback book, like I personally love paperbacks. I love to read, like have the actual book in my hand. Like I love to read those things. Um, and the hardcover book. I love hardcovers, So, like for instance, I have hardcover journals. I like those because they last longer. Um, this one not so much, but I got these at the Dollar Tree. Okay, so people like what they like. Why not give them all an option? It's coming from again the same source, right? So that's book category one. Category number two. Oh, let's finish books real quick. So I want to talk about while we're in books, like, and this is actually an area that I'm starting to move in myself, is the audiobook. Because one, over the last year or two, I've really become appreciative of an audiobook. I used to be a snob, like everybody else is like a real book needs to go in your hands or at least let you flip a page, like even if it's digitally. But now I listen to books on my walks and stuff, and I see how um, just how much it allows you the luxury of reading, even if it's not necessarily with your eyes. Excuse me. And if a book is really, really good, audiobook, I'm gonna buy the paperback because I like to read with it. And that's definitely something I've done before. All right. So why am I mentioning this? Because audiobooks are so lucrative. A lot of people charge like $5.99 for a book. Matter of fact, this is $5.99. A lot of people charge like $5.99 for a book, $6.99, $7.99 for a book. If they're talking ebook, they charge like $2.99. Like all your work was only worth $2.99. That's incredible. But for an audiobook, people charge $20, $25 easily. Okay. And people pay it because the convenience of an audiobook just cannot be beat. Plus, it's super lucrative. Category number two. Category number two is in-person events. Okay. In-person events. I'm trying to keep my eyes on the time. Hold on, y'all. Okay. 48 minutes. Let's see how fast we can go. So category number two is in-person events. So we're talking book signings and tours if you do the book. We're talking in-person events, like literally in-person events. So like a conference, a retreat, a class, a workshop, those things. Those are the types of in-person activities. Even giving a speech, this is an in-person activity that flows from your personal brand, right? So category number three is virtual activities. So category number three is about you hopping on to do social media, right? It's you creating a self-study course for people to purchase and do on their own. We call it asynchronous learning or self-study courses, right? Digital products, etc. Then you have the signature brand coaching program that you may have. So that is usually an online activity unless you also do it in person. Then you have tele summits or virtual summits. So either it's being done like on the phone, if people still do that, or it's done online. So you have these virtual summits. Again, this is a way to show up and to use your voice. Then there are webinars, trainings, and then there's also podcasts. People are getting really, really heavy into podcasts. So that's another way for you to show up and use your voice to build your brand, to create a stream of income. So we just talked about category number one, 5 to 6 different types of books that you can write from the same book, ebook, paperback, hardcover, coil bound, audio, and EPUB or something, right? So we have all these different types of books. We talked about in-person events, workshops, conferences, etc. We just talked about online activities. That's your digital products, your courses, like those type of things. So now we're moving into the training area, right? So those were 3 categories we just went over. Category number 4 of you creating multiple streams from one thing is for you to do training, right? So maybe you have gotten really good at what you know. Like I know people who have created certification, so event certification, storytelling certification. I've seen people create different certifications for their particular brand because they're known as a leader, as an expert in their field. Then once you have a certification, guess what you get to then do? Once you have people certified, you then get to create an agency. So an agency is another way for you to create a stream. Y'all, if you just did these first 17 things, you're looking at a multi-million-dollar company. Again, all flowing from the one source, your personal brand, your voice, your stories, your mission, your alignment, your calling. And then you have intellectual property licensing. I didn't even put on here also vending. So one of the things that I learned this year was like these programs and things that we are creating, we can now go into the community with them and become vendors for our communities, vendors for our city, vendors for our county, vendors for the state, vendors for the school systems, and teach the youth or teach the young or teach the community those things that we are doing. And that can be done either through vending or through licensing your intellectual property. So what that means is you get to be there on the minimal and make the most impact as well as have a substantial addition to your revenue stream. So that's 18 things right now, right? And you can pick out whichever ones of those things that you really want to pick out. I hope this is making sense. If this is making sense, I need y'all to drop like some likes, some hearts, some comments. Let me know this is making sense because to me, it honestly makes dollars. Like, I'm actually in talks with a school right now for a resume program that I had been, promoting here on social media, and I'm actually in talk with a school to come and teach their students the same thing. And so that is money that I get to make from the school system who has money for these types of things. So there are just so many different ways. I need to add that to the list. I didn't put that before, but vending also can go under like intellectual property licensing. So then there's category number 5. This is the final category. So now we're up to like 27, 28 things. And I originally only was going to tell you 25 things. But let's talk about merchandising, y'all. So one of the coolest things that I've been seeing is that, people have subscription boxes. Now, subscription boxes, I think in the early pandemic days, like boomed, it took off, or just before the pandemic. And so people were buying them and they were like $20, $30, $50, or whatever they were. And so they were a pretty big deal. But the thing about that is that your subscription box has to be worth it. Like it just has to be worth it. And so a lot of people just weren't worth it. Or they just didn't want to put in that type of work to make it worth it. But the subscription era has not died. It is still available. So you can find a way with your business, with your voice, with your brand to create a subscription box quarterly instead of monthly, or even semi-annually. or an annual box. I don't know, like whatever works for your business, but that is still a viable stream of income. Um, then there is apparel. So having your logo, listen, oh my gosh, I hate to see people create like apparel that has their name on it. I am not going to walk around with a shirt that says Kimberly, because why? Now, if we're talking like a brand, like Kimberly Cuties or something like that, that means I'm part of the Kimberly Cuties circle. Cool. I might buy that shirt, but like I don't care to buy a shirt that says Kimberly. Like y'all stop with that. But anyway, merchandising is super, super um available and viable of a thing. So apparel, and apparel is not just as shirts, y'all. So it's shirts, it's hats, it's bags, moving into that. It's shorts, it's what you put on. So that's the apparel. Clothes, like your clothes, socks, but they just have to be really, really good. Stop making shoddy stuff. Make quality stuff and charge quality prices if you can or want to. And then the other thing is mugs or bags. So I do buy mugs. I love buying mugs. Again, I'm not going to buy a mug that says Kimberly. Like, come on, make it say something that makes sense. But mugs, bags, calendars, journals, planners, workbooks, right? So um, the journal planner workbook, this is something that I'm going to talk to you about in just a second because I have this awesome, awesome offer that I want to give you. But for instance, like this is my journal. I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to show y'all. So this is my journal that just arrived this week. So this journal is a fitness journal. And you might be like, why a fitness journal? Because obviously, girl, you a little bit on the round side. All right. So anyway, last year, before the year like really got disastrous, last year I actually lost 40 pounds in 12 weeks, doing a very balanced, harmonious way of living. And that included what I have in here. So it's documenting, right? So you know, I did strength and cardio, not just cardio, strength and cardio. I tracked my food. I, wrote daily to God. So I had that. And I listened to an audiobook every day, audiobook or a sermon. So I had a mental diet that was better than it used to be too. So there's just all these different things that I did. So this is not just a thing. This is part of my story. This wasn't me just making a journal to make a journal. This is part of my story. This is part of my brand. This is part of my why, which is helping other people do this because I was actually on track to get bariatric surgery. I went to the doctor with my last thing checked off in April and we were about to, get to it. But by the time I saw the doctor, I had already lost like 10, 15 pounds of my own because I had already started doing this. Right. So I made this book of everything that I did last year. This book, while I was going through, and it looks better than this, y'all, I promise. It actually has more flowers and stuff. But this book, while I was going through a lot of the hardship this year, again, I prayed. I prayed to God. This was my Dear God journal book, right? One of them. And so I literally have like prayers in here. Like you'll see, it says, Dear God. Y'all see that? See, look, it says, what did it say? May 2023. So, dear God, I'm over here praying to God in this journal. And I was like, you know what? I need a journal just for that. So, you'll see that in this journal, I have prayer spaces that say, Dear God, right? Because I want it already written. Like, I'm writing it, so I might as well get it already written. But it also has gratitude in it, like going through being thankful, talking about the blessing, talking about the things I have up to do. And it also has like my sayings, like you're stronger than you give yourself credit, and some little color pages right behind it, right? So you are the vision. Okay. So These are two of the journals that I created. I'm waiting on two more to arrive. Okay. And I have them paperback and hardcover. These are the things that I have done. Um, and again, they're all extending from my story. So they're not off brand. They're totally on brand with me because they're coming from my voice, my personal brand. So that is why I'm talking to you about doing that. And then the final thing, I haven't done this yet. I will do this, but I haven't done this yet because I'm not done with my creation piece. But you then translate everything, get it done in French, German, Spanish, um, Dutch, Japanese, Mandarin, Cantonese, whichever, you know, Swedish. You can get everything that I just talked about, every category, everything I just talked about. You can get it translated. You can get the subtitles added to your stuff. You know, you might still be talking, but your subtitles could be across the board. Or you get somebody to redub it or whatever. But you really can make, I just gave you what, 28 streams, 28 things that you could do from this one stream called a personal brand. And then I just exponentially multiplied it for you because everything that I showed you, you now put in different languages. So from the books to the merchandising to the courses to the retreats to all of that, you then multiply it into a different language. Spanish, French, German, keep going. One thing, multiple streams. This is how this works. Okay. So that is the really cool part about this. I have people that I have worked with. Obviously, I have them as I'm reading from my slide right now, and I do have, their testimonials and stuff. But what I need you to know is that you can actually do this. You can actually create from your calling. Okay. You've been called into something and you need to start creating. You need to start showing up. You need to get out of the shadows. You need to stop putting God off like it's a double dutch game over here talking about some wait. No, we're not double dutching. Jump in already. Let's go. You can find the rhythm inside the ropes. Okay. Oh, that's good. I need to write that down. But anyway, um, so it's just really important then that you understand that you can do this. Like you really can. And you don't have to do it alone. Like, I told you, I've been through this track, I've been on this walk myself. You don't have to do this alone. So, like I said, I just made these workbooks, and this is the next training that I have coming up at the end of the year. Like it's literally the end of the year. It's like the 30th and the 31st. 4 hours each day. I'm going to show you how to make your own workbooks, your own journal. I'm going to walk you through the entire step. That's why it's 4 hours each day. You'll have your computer, you'll have me on mine, and I'm going to walk you through the entire process of using your story, using what you've been through to create impact and another stream of income for your people, okay? For the people you're called to serve. I told you, I have the testimonials, I have all of that stuff. If you need to check that out, you could go to thatbrandstorychick.com and you can look at some of those. But I've helped people with their books, I've helped people with their courses, I've helped people with their programs, I've helped people make tens of thousands of dollars. The bottom line is, will you be my next success story? And so here's my offer is that I have, like I said, I have coming up a workbook workshop that is actually going at $300. But today I'm going to tell you how you can get it for $150, or you can join Girl Use Your Voice Alliance. Girl meaning grow, uplift, reclaim, and lead. So Girl Use Your Voice Alliance, which is my monthly membership, and you can do that at $150, and get the workshop as part of it. And again, in the alliance, you get the monthly workshops, the hot seats, the step-by-step guidance. Again, the first one coming up at the end of the year is how to create your own journals and workbooks. And I'm going to show you how to do that, like with everything. So we're going to be using ChatGPT, Canva, um, KDP, Amazon. Like I'm walking you through the entire step, like how to go from your mind to the marketplace. You actually go through the first two modules of my signature course, Brand Story Magic, where I like really pull out your brand messaging and who it is that your ideal client avatar is, and then you use the work that we've done to start shaping up and to get this stuff. It's powerful. Um, and so you could either do the course again for 150, and I will tell you what that website is in a second, or y'all excuse that, or you can do the Girl Use Your Voice membership. So Girl Use Your Voice membership is bit.ly/Girl Alliance. But for my guys who don't want to be part of the Girl Alliance, the girl really doesn't mean girl. Again, again, it doesn't mean girl. Like, no, it's just GURL. So grow, uplift, reclaim, and lead. So that's girl. Use your voice. But if you just want to get into the workshop, then you would go to, sorry, let me pull that up real quick for you. You would go to bit.ly weekend workbook. So that would be bit.ly/weekend workbook, WKND workbook all together. And you'll use the promo code marathon, MARATHON, in order to get the workshop at 150. Again, it's 8 hours, 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday. And I walk you through the entire process of creating this. But also, y'all, one thing that you're going to get from it that you can use over and over again, because again, one thing, multiple streams, is that after you do the work that I'm going to walk you through, you're going to create a customer profile that is going to be tight, and you can use it for every single thing that you do in your business. So again, you have two opportunities. You can either join the monthly membership, where I do these trainings every month, bigger trainings. Like I said, this month is going to be the workbook training, where I'm going to show you how to do that. The following month, we're going to actually write your book. The following, so every month, I'm guiding you through entire processes of training so that you can start 2024 off right. Like, no confusion, no multiple voices, only your own. Like, this is what the aim is like to clear the noise and only hear what was put inside of you. Okay? So my teaching is to be in support of what you've already been told to do. Like, God's already called you. I'm just going to support that with showing you the process so that you can get it done, but get it done in the way that works the best for you. So I was a teacher for 15 years. I know how to teach, so that's definitely a thing. And and I've done it myself. So again, for the monthly program, it is bit.ly Girl Alliance, GURLALLIANCE. But for the workshop alone, like, let's just say you just want to do the workshop alone, it is a $300 workshop. Today, you can use the promo code MARATHON. So that is bit.ly weekend workbook, bit.ly/weekend workbook, WKNDWORKBOOK, and the promo code is marathon, and you can get it at 50% off. So you can get it for 150. Then y'all can pull up on the table. It is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. So just real quick, those 5 categories, the 5 categories for you to create multiple streams from one thing. One thing being you, your personal brand, your voice. One thing, 5 categories. So again, those 5 categories before we close out is books, are books. And I told you the different ways you can write books: ebook, paperback, audio, spiral, hardcover, EPUB, Mobi files, CDs, So there are different books, all from one thing. 2 was in-person events. These are classes, workshops, retreats, anything that's in person. 3, virtual activities. So that is going to be your telesummits, your live summits, etc. And then 4 are the trainings. This is where we're getting bigger. We create certifications. Once we have certifications, we create an agency. Once we have that agency, we start licensing our material. But let me tell you that you don't have to wait for those first 2. You can start doing that the minute you create it, which is what I've done with my resume program. I became a vendor of several schools and counties, and I'm currently in talks with them to have either workshops where they're paying me like $50 a person to attend, or to talk about licensing where they're paying me a different amount in order to use it with their entire school district. This is huge. Like that's a multi thousands to a million dollars. And then the final one is merchandising. So again, clothes, cups, mugs, bags, workbooks, journals. And again, for this month, for December, we're ending off December by creating these at the weekend workbook workshop. So y'all can find that again at bit.ly/weekend workbook, WKND workbook. All right, that's it, y'all. I had a great time. I hope you did too. Love you.